The Alamo, a battle cry for freedom or a lie buried in blood? We all know the legend, 200 brave defenders standing against an army, choosing death over surrender. But what if I told you everything you've been taught is wrong? Behind the dusty tales of heroism lurk secrets so bizarre they've been erased from history. Drunken feuds that doomed an army, sacred walls that became death traps, and a forbidden truth about the Alamo's defenders that changes everything. What did they really refuse to surrender? Who betrayed them? And how did a single cannon spark a revolution? Tonight, we expose the 8 strangest, most shocking mysteries, the ones they never wanted you to know. This isn't just history, it's a conspiracy. And by the end, you'll never see the Alamo the same way again. Before we continue, please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel to support our growing community. The Alamo, a name synonymous with bravery, sacrifice, and freedom. But what if the truth behind this iconic battle is far darker than the legend? Hidden beneath tales of heroism lies a web of secrets, broken promises, fatal errors, and mysteries so shocking they've been buried for centuries. This is the untold story of the battle that reshaped history. By the end, you'll question everything you've been taught. The forbidden foundations. Mexican officials had 2 strict rules for settlers: convert to Catholicism and register as citizens. Yet many colonists ignored these laws, especially Southerners who brought enslaved laborers, despite Mexico's 1829 abolition decree. Tensions simmered as settlers pushed beyond legal land grants, straining relations with their hosts. That spark of rebellion. The revolution's first clash came in 1835 at Gonzales, where a single cannon became the symbol of defiance. Mexico had loaned it for defense against indigenous raids, but when officials tried reclaiming it, settlers refused, taunting, "Come and take it." That act of rebellion ignited a war. But why did a small artillery piece provoke such fury? The Alamo's fatal stand. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Alamo's defenders faced certain death. Yet they refused to surrender. Why? New evidence suggests their commander, bedridden and desperate, may have planned a last-ditch escape, only for Santa Anna to attack preemptively, seeking a bloody victory for glory. The buried truths. Sacred walls, deadly traps. The Alamo wasn't the impregnable fortress of legend. Its defenders were trapped as much as fortified. Dueling egos, drunken feuds, and infighting weakened morale long before Mexican forces arrived. Slavery's shadow. The rebellion wasn't just about liberty, it was about preserving slavery, a fact later whitewashed from Texas lore. The aftermath, a legacy of lies. Post-war, Tejanos who'd lived in Texas for generations were branded enemies or erased from history. The Alamo myth served Anglo dominance, fueling manifest destiny and anti-Mexican sentiment for decades. Liberated. Fran that started a war, to the defenders' doomed last stand, the real Alamo story is a tapestry of defiance, miscalculation, and myth-making. So, will you keep remembering the Alamo or start uncovering its secrets? The hidden truth of the Alamo uprising. DeWitt's representatives were discovered attending meetings considered treasonous, prompting Colonel Domingo de Ugartechea to mobilize forces. Within 72 hours, Texian militia numbers swelled beyond 160 combatants. Launching an unexpected offensive, these volunteers, the hastily assembled rebel contingent, ill-equipped for sustained warfare and lacking provisions, saw their ranks dwindle rapidly after initial engagements. Originally functioning as a religious outpost, the Alamo compound served missionaries as both supply depot and organizational headquarters before being converted for military use after repeated attacks by. This command restructuring angered Colonel James Bowie, the legendary frontiersman famous for his signature blade. Though remembered today as a military stronghold, the Alamo's original purpose was spiritual, constructed as a mission station for converting indigenous populations before being repurposed following the Mexican government's demand for artillery retrieval went unheeded. While this confrontation became legendary, President Jackson failed to properly disseminate warnings to American volunteers about Mexico's policy of executing prisoners. This tense standoff over a single cannon, what began as minor border skirmishes between Anglo colonists and Mexican regulars, escalated dramatically after the Gonzales incident. Many settlers who participated in repelling government forces subsequently returned to their farms, unaware they'd sparked a revolution. Mexican leadership, viewing the colonists as illegal squatters violating all. The Alamo's defenses proved woefully inadequate against modern artillery. Lacking proper gun ports, defenders had to expose themselves to fire from the elevated catwalks. These architectural flaws, combined with insufficient manpower, dwindling to under 200 by December 1835, made the position untenable against. Command disputes plagued the garrison. Though initially placed under James Neal's authority per Sam Houston's orders, leadership transferred to W.B.Travis after Neal's abrupt departure. Travis's promotion created tensions with Bowie, culminating in a drunken confrontation that Santa Anna's growing fury manifested in his no-quarter policy, communicated bluntly to President Jackson. The Mexican general viewed the rebels as foreign invaders deserving execution, a stance that would dictate the conflict's brutal nature. This uncompromising position, the grim reality of the Alamo's last stand. The Alamo's leadership clearly understood their precarious position. Facing severe shortages of both provisions and manpower, they recognized the inevitable disaster once Mexican troops arrived. Colonel Travis desperately sought reinforcements and weapons from the Texas government, but his pleas went unanswered amidst the chaotic political situation. The defenders found themselves woefully unprepared, critically lacking soldiers, firearms, and essential supplies for a sustained siege. Their artillery was sometimes displayed to maintain troop morale, though modern scholars believe this theatrical gesture may have actually damaged soldier confidence. In a last-ditch effort, Colonel James Bowie arrived with about 30 men to remove the fort's cannons and demolish the structure. Finding no draft animals available to move the heavy artillery, Bowie abandoned this plan. During the final desperate hours, the ailing Bowie transferred full command to Travis before perishing with all 188 defenders, though his family sheltered at the fort survived. General Sam Houston considered reinforcements impossible and refused the garrison's requests for help. Even if aid had been sent, it likely would have arrived too late. Both Bowie and Travis had gravely underestimated Santa Anna's rapid advance. The defenders relied heavily on Colonel Bowie's combat experience, but their situation became hopeless when scouts spotted Mexican forces barely a mile from San Antonio. Travis, though doubtful, posted lookouts in the San Fernando Church bell tower. Mexican troops were sighted within hours. Believing the Alamo held strategic importance, Travis personally appealed to the provisional government for support. Meanwhile, Santa Anna entered San Antonio with 1,500 professional soldiers, facing just 188 mostly untrained defenders. The siege began February 23, 1836. When Santa Anna raised the red flag, signaling no quarter would be given, the Texans defiantly refused to surrender. Travis responded by firing a cannon at Mexican positions. Bowie, considering this reckless attempted negotiations, while Travis sent his own messenger. Both were rebuffed with demands for unconditional surrender. Tragically, Bowie fell severely ill on the siege's second day, leaving him completely bedridden. 2 doctors examined him but couldn't diagnose his mysterious condition. The sight of their legendary leader incapacitated devastated the already demoralized volunteers. James Neal had urgently petitioned the Houston for assistance before the siege began. The approaching Mexican army triggered mass evacuations in nearby Bear, leaving the defenders even more isolated. Worst of all, most defenders were untrained civilians when Santa Anna's professional army arrived. The siege ended on March 6, 1836, 13 days of defiance culminating in the death of every Texan fighter. Only women and children survived. Though the Alamo fell, its defeat sparked a revolution. Yet the echoes of those 13 days still whisper unsettling questions. What if the real story isn't about heroes, but fatal flaws? Flaws in leadership, flaws in loyalty, flaws that doomed them all. The rivalry that weakened the fort. James Bowie and W.B.Travis, co-commanders, clashed until the end. Bowie, a swashbuckling frontiersman, resented Travis's authority. Travis, a disciplined officer, despised Bowie's drunken recklessness. Their feud divided the garrison. Volunteers followed Bowie, regulars obeyed Travis. Yet in the final hours, they fired a defiant cannon shot together. Was it unity or desperation? Bowie's mysterious collapse. Days into the siege, Bowie, a man famed for his knife fights and resilience, was suddenly bedridden. Was it illness or something darker? Some historians argue yellow fever, contracted from illegal slave trading. Others blame alcoholic pneumonia from his notorious binges. Mexican accounts claim he was murdered, helpless in bed. Texan legends insist he fought to his last breath. The truth remains buried. Santa Anna's Pyrrhic victory. The Mexican army paid a staggering price, 600 casualties, to crush 188 defenders. Why such bloodshed? Santa Anna's refusal to take prisoners, flaunting a red no-quarter flag, backfired. The slaughter galvanized Texans, turning the Alamo into a rallying cry for revenge at San Jacinto. The warning hidden in the legend. History remembers the Alamo as a symbol of courage. But was it also a cautionary tale? Travis's pleas for reinforcements were ignored. Bowie's bravado couldn't mask strategic failures. The fort's walls, designed to stop tribes, crumbled under artillery. Pride and poor planning doomed them. Why did Travis, who doubted Bowie, share command until the end? Resilien killed Bowie, typhoid, betrayal, or his own vices. Why did Santa Anna, a tactical genius, waste lives on a ruinous assault? The Alamo's defenders became legends. 2,000, but it doesn't appreciate there the developments many easiest seem to die in, but legends bury truths. What's the one mystery about the Alamo that still haunts you? Drop your theories below.